Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Victoria. So today we are going to be drafting out a shirt pattern. So it is shirt pattern top and I'll be making all the measurements on this pattern paper. And when I'm done, I'm going to be placing the pattern paper on the fabric and cut it out. So if this is something you are interested in, please keep on watching. If you've not subscribed yet to the channel, please subscribe and let's get started with the tutorial. So now I'll be taking 2.5 inches from the center of my paper and I'll be converting it into a straight line. This 2.5 inches is what I'll be using for my button plackets. So now the next thing is that I'll be coming down by 1/2 inch and I'll be converting it into a straight line. It's going to serve as my shoulder line and also the starting point for all of my measurements. So now every measurement I'll be taking will be on these 2.5 inches. Remember, the 2.5 inches is meant for the button placket. So now from this 2.5 inches, I'll be taking all of my measurements. So now the shoulder measurement I'm working with is 18. I'm actually working for a big size person. So 18 divided by 2 is going to be giving me 9. So I'll place my 9 on the shoulder line. So after I'm done now, then I'll be coming down by 1 inch. From that point I made, I'll be coming down by 1 inch. That 1 inch is going to serve as my shoulder slope. So you connect the shoulder slope into the neckline, just the way I'm doing it. So now I'll be placing my half length measurements. The half length I'm working with is 17. Then this 17, I'll be converting it into a straight line also. Now the full length of the top I'm working with is 27. Now this pattern paper will not be enough for 27, so I'm just going to be adding the remaining one on the top. So I'm just going to be writing add 3 because this is 24.5. So I'm going to be adding at least 3 more inches to make it 27. So I'm going to be writing add 3 here so that when I'm cutting it on the fabric, I will know I'm supposed to add 3. And then I'll convert my half length into a straight line. Okay, so now let's work on the armhole. The armhole I'm working with is 9. Now to get your own perfect armhole, you are to divide your bust measurement by 6, then you add 1.5. So that's how you get your perfect armhole. Now because I'm working on a shirt, I know a shirt is supposed to be a bit free, so I'm just going to be using the same shoulder measurement, which was 9. I'm also going to be using it for the armhole, which is actually fine. You can also use that for yourself. It's going to give you a very good armhole, but it's just that it's going to be a bit loose. It's not going to be tight. But when you're making for a fitted dress, you can measure it the way I said, dividing your bust point by 6 and adding 1.5. So now I'm just going to convert it into a straight line now. So now you'll be dividing your armhole into 2. So that is 4.5. Then you'll be going in by 1/2 inch. Then you now connect the 1/2 inch to the upper part. Then you curve out the other part. Now the reason why we are coming in by 1/2 inch is just to get rid of every bulge, so that when you finish making your dress, there's not going to be excess around the armhole. So we're just trying to get rid of the bulge. So this is how to do it. So now the next thing is now is to work on the neckline. So the neckline I'm working with, I'm going to be using 3.25. Then I'll be coming down by 3.5. That's what I'll be using for the neckline. Remember I said I was working for a big size person. But if you're working for a small size person, you can just do 3 by 3. 3 by 3 is actually fine. But now I'm working with 3.5 and 3.25. So I'll just be connecting it together to get the neckline for the front. So this is it to get my neckline. This is 11.25. So you place your 11.25 here. So I'll be adding sewing allowance to this. So I'll be adding 1.5. So 11.25 plus 1.5 is going to be giving me 12.75. So this is 12.75 here. So for my waist measurement, the waist measurement I'm working with is 38. It's divided by 4. So this is 9.5. So I'll be adding 1.5 sewing inches. So this is it. It's going to be giving me 11 also. Then your hip measurement, that's what you'll be placing here. So the hip measurement I'm working with is 51. Since this is 12.75, so for my 12.75, I'm going to be adding my 1.5 inch also. So I'm going to add 14.25. So from here, I'm going to be connecting all of these lines into a straight line. So because this place is too sharp, I'm just correcting this part with this curve. So I hope you understand what I'm doing. So here, the person I'm actually working with is very, very big. So you can leave your armhole this way. I'm just trying to curve it in very well. Understand? So I was just trying to cut it and curve it in very well. So now you'll be cutting all of this out. But before then, we're working on a shirt. There's a way that the shirts usually look like that. The armhole will be a bit down for the front. So that's what I'm going to be doing here. I'm going to be removing 1 inch from my front pattern. 1 inch from this pattern. So I'll be cutting this 1 inch off. So when I cut out this 1 inch, I'll be placing it back to my back measurement. So I'll be showing you where I'm cutting out the back. So for now, let's just cut out this part. So to cut out the neckline, you'll be folding in your 2.5 inch this way. And then you'll be cutting out that 1 inch. So this is me cutting out that 1 inch. It's not like I need it, but I just need to show you. So this was the slope, we're cutting it out. So this was the 1 inch. So this 1 inch we'll be placing it back on our back pattern. So let's draft out the back pattern. So now for the back pattern, I'll be coming down by 2 inches. So this 2 inches is going to be what I'll be using to return back the 1 inch we cut out from the front. But I'm going to be showing you step by step. So let me just convert this 2 inches into a straight line. So now I'll be taking every measurement from this center part of the back. So now the next thing I'll be doing, I'll be using the same shoulder measurement I used for the front, which was 9. And I'll be taking in my neckline, which is 3.25, remember. But this one, instead of coming down by 3.5, I'll be coming down by 1 since it's the back. And I'll be connecting it into a neck. I'll be making a neck shape. So the next thing is that we'll be working on the shoulder slope. So the same way we came down by 1 inch in the front, we're also doing the same thing at the back. So the next thing we'll be working on the armhole. So the armhole we used in the front was 9. We'll also be using the same 9 here. So I'll just come down and get my 9 points and convert it also into a straight line. So now let's work on the body measurement. The first measurement to be taken is our bust measurement. So the bust measurement I'm working with is 11.25. Then I'll be adding my 1.5, which is going to be giving me 12.75. So I'm going to mark it out. Then I'm going to using that point to curve out my armhole for the back. So you're also going to be doing it the same way I did it. So for the back, we are not going to be going in for to get rid of the bulge. We are not going to be going in for that. You just connect it down in a straight line, just the way I'm doing it, Sha. So now work on the waistline. So when you're working on this waistline, remember that we came down by 2 inches. So you don't start from above the 2 inches. You start from the line, the way I'm placing my tape rule. So that's how you get your half length for the back. You just neglect the 2 inches we left on the top, because that is meant to replace the 1 inch we took from the front. So now you place your waist measurement. So the same way I did for the front, the waist measurement is 9.5. The 9.5, I'm going to be adding my 1.5 inches, going to be giving me 11. Then I'll be connecting it back to my bust line. Then I'll work on my waist, on my hip line. So the hip line I'm working with is 51. So 51 divided by 2 is 12.25. And I'm also going to be adding my 1.5 inches sewing allowance. So now I'm going to be connecting it into the waistline. So now I'm going to be correcting the waistline. It's too sharp. So the same way I did for the front, I'll just connect it with my cuff, and so that is it. So now let's work now on the 1 inch that we took away. This is the only difference between the front and the back. So you are going to be placing your measuring tape the same way I'm doing it, and you place your 1 inch. Then you come also to the neckline and you replace your 1 inch. Then you connect it into a straight line. You just do it the same way I'm doing it this way. Make sure your hand is straight and is not slanty. So that's all for the back. Now we just cut it out. So now after I was done cutting, so this is it for both the front and the back. Now we'll place this pattern paper on our fabric and cut it out. So now this is how it's going to be looking out even when you cut it out. So you notice that the back is coming to the front. So that was why we took out 1 inch from the front and we place it back to the back. So that's how it's going to be looking. So now when I'm cutting this out, I'm going to be, so when I'm cutting it out, I'm going to be adding, I'm going to be cutting the back on fold. Then I'm going to be adding 1/2 inch around the shoulder line, which I'll be using to join it to the front. Because if I do not do so, it's going to reduce the length. So I'm just going to be adding 1/2 inch. So the 1/2 inch is only going to be on the shoulder line for both the front and the back, and we cut it out. So this is all for the pattern drafting.